Welcome to Occupational Education 4350. We appreciate you listening and watching this program. This is the Occupational Education program at Texas State University. The course that you're going to be taking by video and DVD, depending upon your needs, will be the most important course that you will take toward the BAAS degree at Texas State University. We welcome you and urge you to spend the personal time you need in this class in order to accomplish the class objectives. It is a very comprehensive course and it requires time outside of the class. In fact, some of the students will tell you that they spend 10 or more hours a week working on the course. We urge you to take the time necessary to work in the course. Well, there are many course objectives that we will be dealing with, and the course objectives that you will have will also be provided by your instructor. However, we want to talk to you about some personal objectives that will be useful to you in this course. Now, you may say this is just an opportunity to deal with a few course objectives. We can go ahead and move to the next track. This is not something important, but I want you to pay close attention to the course objectives because they are important, they are serious, and they demand a lot of time. And each of these objectives we have carved out of years of experience working with this course because, as mentioned, this is the most important course that you will take while in the occupational education program, leading to the BAAS degree. Well, first of all, there are two objectives we'd like to talk about initially. The first one is we want you to review your life's accomplishments and document those for future growth and potential work-life credit. Now, this one is very important because we want you to be able to build a life's history, to be able to show what you have accomplished. And some people say, well, I've really not ever accomplished that much. I don't have a lot of things that I've done. I don't have a large resume. Well, I think you will be surprised as you go through this course. I think you will gain a lot of self-confidence because you'll be able to see the things that you have accomplished. You'll be able to see things that you thought, well, I wasn't very good at that. But you'll see that other people may never have had that opportunity that you had. And you will see that this program is going to help you to look at all of your skills and document them. So this is important to review your life accomplishments. And I urge you to save your electronic information for your children and grandchildren and future generations. And this will tell them who you were. Well, number two is important, to properly plan for future employment to become better prepared to positively impact the workplace. Yes, we want you to learn planning skills such as job task analysis, to review the PERT chart, to be able to understand how to plan and to be able to utilize your planning skills. This is important to be able to understand all the planning that you need. I think that one of the biggest problems that we have as a person would be that we don't plan for things. Sometimes we let things just happen to us. We go by happenstance sometimes. And this may be in your current life. You may say, well, you know, I've been intending to come back to school for years. As the saying is, the road to perdition is paved with a lot of good intentions. And that's what happens to people, that they have many good intentions, but they've never planned. And planning entails one step at a time. And it entails enabling objectives next to the central objective. So we would urge you to properly plan for the future. Look at what you want to do 5 years from now. Look at your degree plan very carefully that you're going to be receiving during this course. And also you want to look at that plan in reference to 5, 6 years down the line, as we said. You may want to attend law school, or you may want to get a master's degree, or you may want to work toward a certification. These are things you need to consider, and these are all things that are important to be considered initially in this course. Your instructor for this course is your guide. The instructor will need to assist you, and we urge you to stay in close contact with the instructor by email, phone, or in some cases you may actually set an appointment with your instructor. This course being distance learning, often students contact the instructor by electronic mail, and this seems to be a good way to keep things rolling between the instructor and the student. However, whatever method that you use to contact your instructor, it is important that you contact only your instructor in the course. That instructor will be your guide for the course. Well, let's look at some more objectives. Well, the third objective that I think is important is that you're going to recognize personal strengths and to utilize these in dealing with personal and professional issues. Well, that sounds like a lot of jargon. It's not. In essence, we want you to be able to understand the strengths that you have. You have to realize where they are and what's going on, because some of us go through life, you may hit the 50s, 60s, and even later, and realize that you've just now discovered a talent. Something like the Grandma Moses painting situation, Colonel Sanders chicken, the idea of people who are later in life embarking upon a new direction, seizing the moment, working towards something different. And we urge you to consider those strengths that you uncover, because they're going to help you to deal with personal and professional issues. There are many problems in society. These problems will continue. What you want to do here as you go through this course is to look at what armor that you have to protect yourself from problems, to look at how you can impact in a positive manner on other people. This is the idea. Look at your strengths, recognize them, and see how you can use them in personal and professional issues. I am a licensed professional counselor and have been in private practice also. And in that private practice, I dealt with a number of couples who were having marital issues. One of the things that we note in that type of practice is that sometimes people have to call upon all the strength that they have that is welled up inside them to deal with some of the negative things. And you have to decide, yes, I can deal with this and I can positively affect my spouse. And these are just some of the things that we will have an opportunity to talk about during this course. Well, our fourth thing that we wanted to say was an objective is to recognize personal weakness and to work to reduce the effects on life itself. Well, that's a tough one, isn't it? To be able to recognize a personal weakness that I have. It is interesting to note that a lot of times adults who go through life, someone may say to them, and they may be in a well-meaning fashion, they'll say something like, well, let's go out and to the park and take, some of the people from the office and we'll play a baseball game. Sometimes some of us, like myself, struck out so many times in baseball that I don't want to play baseball. I realized that that was not one of my stronger suits in life, is to play baseball. Tried it, didn't do as well. So I recognize that as a personal weakness. And some of us, we will have to deal with those weaknesses and overcome them. But sometimes, perhaps in different sports, you will just simply go to another sport. You need to realize what you're good at, realize where your strengths are, as we talked about earlier, but then realize that I have some weaknesses. These could also be some very harmful weaknesses. What if you've job hopped? I always, in looking at the portfolios, I see people who have held many jobs. That may be a weakness, to stick to it. You may have a weakness there in dealing in the communication area. You may have a difficult time in communicating to your employer, being able to explain yourself. These are all things that are going to impact your life. So understand what your weaknesses are. Tackle the ones you can tackle to overcome. Now, we can't change our height. We can't change that. I can't become taller overnight. But one of the things I can do, if I see that I am better at one sport, as I talked about earlier, maybe I can work in a sport that I don't have to be quite as tall. These are things that sound elementary, but they're important as you begin to work on this course. Well, let's look at a fifth objective. To learn planning and documentation skills that may be utilized throughout one's life. That's important. Although these are difficult and comprehensive goals that you've heard, this presentation is going to lead you in that direction. But let's think about this. You're hearing all of these things at this point. We want you to learn to document the things that you have learned. We want you to be able to put them down, write them down, save them, and be able to better work with them. And these are, as said, very difficult goals. All of these are goals, and they're difficult. They're time-consuming. They sometimes cause you misery, but they are going to be things that you want to work on during this course. And again, let me refer you back to your instructor. Your instructor will be a person who is going to help you to get through this portfolio process, this evaluation process. Keep those emails going, keep that communication open, and it will help you to deal with this. I would suggest too, as we indicated earlier, go back and listen to these again. Think about it. Impact upon it. Engage yourself into self-evaluation. Look at what you can do. And finally, as we said in number 5 there, to learn planning and documentation skills. This is all extremely important. Well, let's go on then and think about one important thing. Your instructor's notes supersede any information in this presentation. If you have something that seems to be a contradiction to what has been said in this presentation, email your instructor. Don't wait. Email your instructor. Take notes as you go through these presentations. You can also find out from your course instructor the due dates. All of those types of things will be obtained from your instructor. The due dates are solid. Those are dates that you need to turn in your information, need to turn in your portfolio, and all other course requirements. These are very important, but your instructor remains your guide. So I think that's certainly a way to go. The presentations that you'll watch during this work that we do together will consist of 13 independent lessons. They're designed to take you through this self-evaluation and documentation as we talked about. We again urge you to carefully review each lesson and repeat them as needed. So we'll have about 13 in your own lesson 1 at this time. Lesson 1 then is trying to warm you up. So you're just starting your engine right now. Just trying to work to start that engine so that you can begin to go through this. And I want you to make it through this course. What I have found is that people who will watch these carefully, take notes, email their instructors, and ask questions are ones that will make it through. You might also consider, as far as if you have a friend that's taking the course at the same time, you might consider developing a little cluster and talking back and forth with that friend. So some of you will be taking this class with other people that you know. So I think that's important. Let's talk about the BAAS degree. Let's review it. It's wise that you fully understand the degree. Please remember your major is not business or history or English or mass communication. Your major is applied arts and sciences. It is not occupational education. Occupational education is your program that you are under. But the degree itself is applied arts and sciences. Now within that degree, there are many things that can be done. You will have perhaps the same group of people from your office goes to this course. They take the course, and let's say there's 20 of them. All 20 will have the same degree title, but the internal parts of the degree may be different, and we'll explain that in a moment here, that the internal parts of the degree may look different, but you all will receive the BAAS degree, the Bachelor of Applied Arts degree. So if someone says, what is your major? Your major is Applied Arts and Sciences. You should always be aware of the rules and regs. Look at the next one. It is an interdisciplinary degree that combines coursework from various departments. What that means is your advisor and your 4350 instructor will have some impact on you in reference to some of the departments that you may want to include in your degree plan. For instance, could I combine courses from Mass Comm, Psych, and Soc together to make a strong degree plan? Well, yes, I could. But at the same time, I want to look at my future. Am I going to seek a master's degree in sociology? Well, if I am, maybe I should take a few more courses in sociology. How would I know? Well, probably what I want to do is I may email the sociology department and indicate what are some of the prereqs. Or if I'm moving out of state to Michigan or Iowa or California, maybe I will go ahead and pick a school there, send them information about myself, and find out what they recommended prerequisites are. So it's an interdisciplinary degree. We will combine several departments. As we keep looking at the degree, there's so much. Let's look at the modules. We have something in the degree plan, it's called modules. You do not have a minor in this degree plan. You have modules. We have what we call the core. Your draft plan will have a core. These are basics required of all students. Math, history, all of those types of courses are what we call the core. The core requirements are very important. They should not be forgotten. You should not wait to deal with the core. And you say, oh, Dr. Springer, I do not want to do that math now. What I'm telling you is don't wait till the middle of your degree. It simply gets worse. Take the core as soon as you can. You may have a situation where if you have permission from the program to go back to the community or junior college, you may end up still taking some more core at the community college. Your advisor may recommend that. And you may find that's a very good thing to do, is to take some of the core at the junior college if you've not done that. You also may be interested in testing out in the core. CLEPs are also on the Occupational Education website, and you can go there and take a look at some CLEPs. Those are things that you could essentially test out of. But you want to be sure you match the course that you CLEP out of with your draft degree plan. Don't take a course or take a CLEP that's not going to come through with the right numbers. And we have that information on the Occupational Education website. We're going to talk a lot about that during this course because that's your mainstay of updated information is the Occupational Education website. And your instructor will be referring you to that at different points in the course. So the core then are your basics. Now, if you have some basics transferred in from other universities, it may be that they didn't come in correctly. Well, you can check with your advisor about any potential appeal for basics that do not come in. Let me give you an example. Let's say I took a philosophy at the UT Austin, and it did not come in as philosophy at Texas State. One of the things you'll do is you can email your instructor. Your instructor may say, well, there is an appeals process, or do this, this, and this. Doesn't mean that it will be accepted on the appeal, but it's something for you to consider. So you want to always look at a possibility that some of the courses coming in may work or they may not, but it's in your draft degree plan. Look at your draft degree plan very carefully. Do not deviate from it without advisor's written approval. Your occupational emphasis is the next area of our degree plan. People are dealing with this module. It's a concentration for your past career or technical college work. You can put courses in there related to your career, and you can get work-life credit put into that module along with non-collegiate credit. So this is the module where that you will have your work experience placed in. This is a very important module. This is the module that's essentially, as we said, your past or your technical community college work. Now, if you've had 3 or 4 different careers, you're going to have to decide which career best fits in that module, and that will be the career that you want to apply for work-life credit. Now, if you apply for work-life credit in a career that you have not done very well in, I would say that's unwise. As an example, let's say you were a butcher and by some reason you burned up the butcher shop. Not a good idea to apply for credit, because I don't think they're going to verify you were a good butcher. Now, if you were a candlestick maker and you also burned up the candlestick company, not a good idea. Now, finally, you found it and you just got it right, and you said, hey, I'm a good baker, and now you're working at an excellent bakery and you've made a career out of it and you have good references. I think I'd apply for work-life credit as a baker. But what you're going to do is you're going to decide which of your careers are best. Now, some of you have it easy. You're going to have an occupational emphasis that's easy to do because you already have had just career after career, but they've all been essentially the same. Those of you who've had that, we know what your emphasis is. If you've been in management, you're still in management, that will be the thing that you will do. So the occupational emphasis is an important part of your degree plan. What have you emphasized in that degree? I'd like to talk a little bit about the professional development part of your degree plan. These are upper level or junior senior level courses that you will take from Texas State University. These courses are 18 hours. You must have courses from 3 different disciplines. For example, you might play it this way. You could take 3 courses from sociology, 1 course from psychology, and 2 courses from career and technology education. You could collect 18 hours. You could work in a schedule that blends. So what you're looking at there is you're trying to find a balance, something that's going to help you in your future, and yet combine departments. That's your interdisciplinary flair that we were talking about. This is where the degree turns interdisciplinary. So another example might be you could take 4 courses in psychology, 1 in Soc and 1 in career and tech. It's another example. Another example might be take 2 in mass comm, 2 in psychology, 2 in sociology. That gives you 3 departments with 6 hours each. Now, if you are going to get a master's degree in political science, I probably would suggest taking 12 hours of political science courses in the professional development. The key is to work with a department that you're going to get a master's in the future if you're going to do that. Now, you may not know, so I would be very careful to look at several things when you build your professional development. One is you're going to work with your advisor, but a very important thing is don't take courses or put them on your plan that are not going to help you. The other thing is you have to be very careful because you could write in courses that are never offered at times that you could take them. For instance, let's say you live in Houston and you're watching this presentation and you're going to take mostly correspondence courses, CLEPs, community college courses, and distance learning classes. Well, some courses at Texas State are not set for distance learning, but here you write them in, and that's an unwise thing to do, is to write in courses that you're not going to be able to take. So that takes looking at the course schedule, and you can look at that on the web and say, these courses are never offered. Are there always courses that are offered only on the main campus? Why would you want to list those? No, you wouldn't. So the professional development is very important. What are you going to develop into professionally? What are you going to develop into professionally? This is important. Well, let's go and look at electives. What would be electives? Well, these are courses that you can choose to take, but I want to tell you, don't take electives until after you finish this OCED 4350 course, or if the advisor says go ahead and take them. I have so many students every year that I have seen, and they have too many electives. They have everything from love of chair from California to riding a horse in Texas. And we can't have that because those relate to very little of anything. So you've got an elective module that already has 13 hours in it. We don't need any more. So if someone says to you, take an elective, you're going to like it. Well, that's your choice, but you know exactly where that's going to fall out in your degree plan. It is better immediately to tackle the core and then with your advisor's permission, work on the professional development. I prefer that, because this course you're in right now is very complex, I prefer that you just take this semester. But some of you say, well, I've got scholarships, I've got veteran situations, I've got a lot of things I've got to take 6 hours or 12 hours, et cetera, et cetera. You must go with what your lender or your scholarship organization requires. However, be very careful as you approach this semester and you're going through it. Allot your time, because you've already enrolled in all these hours. So I can't go back and undo that for you at this time, but what you can do is be careful to allot your time and understand how much time it's going to take you to work on this course each week. I think as I review it, the preceding modules will have other courses in them in your degree plan. One is called Cooperative Education. Cooperative Education is what we call the internship, and this will be a course that you'll take your last semester, and you will perform a task that is essentially something beyond your normal job description. This can be done weekends, evenings, it can be done in daytime, in different durations. So the semester before you graduate, be sure you look at the website and attend an orientation or do